Well, you probably noticed I'm wearing my, without a doubt, national champions, Michigan. And that's for the benefit of Brian. But I noticed when I put the shirt on that some of the letters are done in gold. That stands for the finest, right? The best. I'm going to talk to you about gold in your morning cup of inspiration. There was a story in Greek mythology about a guy named King Midas, and he was a lover of gold. And he went to the ancient Greek god Dionysus. And according to mythology, Dionysus agreed to give him one wish. And King Midas said, "I wish that everything I touch would turn to gold." And at first he was delighted when Dionysus granted his request. But then he realized that when he touched food, it turned to gold and made it inedible, the word that means you can't eat it. And when he touched his loved ones, they turned to gold too, and they became lifeless. So he lost his loved ones. He had unintended consequences to his request. And you know, sometimes I think it's like that when we pray to God. A lot of us have asked God for things that he never gave to us because in his wisdom, he knew that they weren't for in our own best interests. My granddaughter Brookie loves to eat at McDonald's. She calls it Old McDonald's from the song Old MacDonald Had a Farm. She would eat there every day if her parents let her, but we all know that would not be good for her. Let me read you a verse that kind of talks about this. It's in James chapter 4, verse 3, and it says, "When you ask, you do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures." You see, sometimes we ask things for ourselves that could have unintended consequences, just like King Midas. He didn't realize that if he touched everything, it could really change things for the worse. C.S. Lewis, the great theologian, once said, "If God had answered all of my silly prayers, where would I be?" You see, God knows, and in his wisdom, he allows all things to work together for good. And that's what we read in Romans 8:28. It says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." So if you're upset thinking that God hasn't answered a prayer you've been praying for a long time, maybe it's because he knows that it would have unintended consequences, and he always has a better plan. I hope that helps you today, and I'll talk to you soon in another Morning Cup of Inspiration.